Hey dudes, welcome to Splat from the Past, the only 80s themed horror and sci-fi show where things can get totally radical. Now today I will be welcoming a member of the original Groundlings, and he's a great character actor from many comedies, and I'm talking about Sandy Helberg. Sandy, of course, has been in such cult classics as The Hollywood Knights, This Is Spinal Tap, Up the Creek, a couple Mel Brooks movies, High Anxiety, History of the World Part 1, Spaceballs. He's been a comedy writer for some sitcoms like Dear John and Perfect Strangers. And he's just had a huge eclectic career. He was trained by Sanford Meisner and Lee Strasberg. And he also did some stand-up comedy in New York. And one of the original Groundlings. And his son, of course, is Simon Helberg, who plays Howard on The Big Bang Theory. And it's going to be an honor to talk to him today. Terry Bolo has praised Sandy and has told me so much about him, so I can't wait. Also, I'd like to say rest in peace, Richard Hurd, who I interviewed 2.5 weeks ago on this podcast. Thanks to my good friend Lori Jacobson, who arranged it to happen. I feel more like he interviewed me than I interviewed him, but it was a great honor to talk to him. So, rest in peace, legendary character actor Richard Hurd. So yeah, here is my interview with Sandy Helberg.
Hello.
Hey Sandy, welcome to the show. How are you today?
Good. How are you?
I'm pretty good. We got nice weather today here in Redding, California.
Yeah, what is it, 110?
Probably, or at least 90-ish.
Yeah, it's pretty hot today.
It sure is. Yes. It's such a great honor. Thank you for taking the time today.
Oh, my pleasure.
So, going back in time, did you gravitate toward acting and performing early on in your childhood?
Well, yeah, it's, honestly, that's all I ever thought of doing. And I never came from a family that did that. Came from Ohio, but that's all. In school, I wasn't a great student or an athlete, but I was funny, so people liked me because of that.
Yeah, nice. So you did school plays and community theater and all that?
Yeah, I was at the variety shows, any place I could get up and do something. And there were a lot of kids who did that in Ohio. So it was good. Then I went to New York and studied there.
Yeah, you studied with Sanford Meisner and Lee Strasberg, correct?
Yes. Yeah, that was, I got him on the tail end.
Right on the tail end. Who was crazier between the two?
Yeah, we were both. Pardon me, who's crazier?
Yeah, who's crazier between the two? Because I've always heard stories.
Well, Meisner's pretty out there. You're afraid of him. I wasn't afraid of Lee Strasberg.
Wow.
I thought he was a nice old Jewish guy.
Mm-hmm. Wow, so Meisner was the crazy one.
He told us stories about how at this age he's being honored at film festivals, and he didn't really talk much about acting. But I could do his bio.
Wow. So what did you learn from him?
Not too much. I mean, going to the neighborhood playhouse, I think I learned what I needed to learn, and then I started doing improvisation, which was the best teacher of them all.
Mm-hmm. Did you have any famous classmates or who later went on to become famous when you were at Sanford Meisner and Lee Strasberg?
Well, when I went to Meisner, Jeff Goldblum was in my class.
Oh, Goldblum. Nice.
Yeah, yeah, we're still friends, and then I came to LA, and I was the original groundling. I was one of the founding groundlings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when you got to
there were a lot of people there who went on. Lorraine Newman, Phil Hartman, Will Ferrell, John Lovett, those people.
Oh, yes. Lynn and Terry and Gloria, they've been on this podcast, and they've praised you. And, oh, yeah, especially Terry. She just adores you. And whenever I'm in LA...
Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah, whenever I'm in LA, I get together with Terry. And if I could choose any woman to be my aunt, it would be Terry Bolo, because she is awesome.
To be your aunt. Yeah, and he would take good care of you.
Yes, she takes care of people.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
So what year did you get to the Groundlings?
I got there like 74, and then I went to New York and got married in 75. I came back and was off and running.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I had just started and was there for a few months, and then I had to go off and get married. So I took a week or so off and came back, and you're like nervous about losing your spot in the show.
Yeah.
So after we got married at the Plaza in New York, and we had a honeymoon suite. We were supposed to stay in for a couple of weeks, and after a week, I wanted to go home. And my wife said, "You want to go home and work in a bad neighborhood, do a free show?" I said, "Yeah." She said, "Okay," and we did, and that was it.
Wow. So what kind of characters?
But we had a great time.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, we had a great time back then. There weren't so many rules. There were 10, 15 people in the whole group. It wasn't so regimented, and we came up with great material. We had great people in the group then.
Yeah, like Terry told me, you guys had to perform with no chairs, and there was pillows that you had to sit on the ground.
Yeah, we had stuff like that, and just all kinds of exercises and games, and it just sort of keeps you limber.
Yeah. What kind of characters did you have when you were at the Groundlings?
Well, I had one guy. His name was Morris Potemkin. He was a very Jewish guy from Flushing, Queens. He worked for Hebrew National as a computer programmer,
mm-hmm.
and he was engaged to Lorraine Newman, her stewardess character.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know that character?
I vaguely do, yeah.
Yeah. So we did that at a marriage counselor, she and I, and they came to Saturday Night Live. Well, actually, before that, Lily Tomlin had a special.
Mm-hmm.
And she hired four of us to be in it, and then Lauren Michaels had a special, and he hired some people, and the rest is history.
Wow. And were you very close with Gary Austin?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he was terrific. He really was. He knew how to encourage you. He knew how to make you feel good about what you're doing. And if you weren't doing well, he would tell you. But he had a way of inspiring. He just wouldn't make that little change that would change the whole scene. So, and he was, like I said, a terrific director. Yeah, it's too bad he's going now. It's just leave a hole in everybody's heart.
Yeah, you guys lost him around the same time as Cynthia Zaghetti.
Yeah, I think it was a little after.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're dropping like flies.
Yeah, it's sad,
Yeah.
Yeah, especially with this COVID thing we got going.
Yeah, especially, like the Phil Hartman thing. It was shocked because I knew him when he came into the group, and for 10 years we sat next to each other in the back in the dressing room. Mm-hmm. And so I wake up on May 28th because that's my birthday to see what's going on, and they say, comedian legend has died. And I thought it was Milton Berle or someone like that. And when they showed his picture, I just couldn't believe it,
Yeah.
It's still unreal. It's like the Kennedy thing, But, he, that's, what are you going to do? So I'm glad his kids are okay. And, he left quite a memory for everyone.
Sure did. He was one of the funniest men ever, and one of the most gracious guys, too, from what I've been told.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. A real gentleman,
Yeah.
There was no pushing and shoving in the scenes. He was always the first one to step back and let someone else go. But again, we're all of a certain age, and although his was a lot different, but we're of a certain age, and so we're going.
Mm-hmm. Sad.
Well, this is a lively, cheery chat.
Okay, I'm going to liven things up now. Getting into the movie and TV roles, I heard that you were the original gopher on The Love Boat.
Yes, yeah, I was. It was one of, I think it was like the first or second job I had auditioned for, and I went in, I had long hair and a beard, and they made me shave the beard and cut the hair, and I came back again. And then the last day I came back, and there was a guy laying there who looked just like me. Mm-hmm. So we each went in separately, and he left, and they told me I had a part, and I was thrilled. And, we were taking a cruise around Ensenada. Mm-hmm. So I took my wife with me. We had just gotten married. And it was great. I had a great time, there were old-timers, Cloris Leachman, Don Adams, people like that. And so we did the pilot, and it didn't get picked up. And a year later, they hired new producers, and they hired new people. They hired Fred Grandy and Gavin McLeod. Nobody from the original cast was used.
Yeah. Wow.
That's show business,
Yeah.
There are a million stories out there in show business. But you think you got it, and then you go. There was another pilot I did that got picked up by NBC, for 13 shows. Mm-hmm. And they ran the pilot, and it got terrible ratings, and they canceled the show. And I bought a house based on that new series I was going to be doing. Mm-hmm. But anyway, that's what happens.
Wow. Did you at least get to keep the house?
Pardon me?
Did you at least get to keep the house?
Yes, I talked the guy into it. And, they didn't check, there was no computer check, or credit check. I told him what I was going to make, and he was thrilled. And he said just one thing, make sure I get a ticket for each show. And I said I will. And then, later, it was fine. They got their payments on time, so they didn't care.
Yeah.
So, and that's what goes on in show business, And the Groundlings, I'll tell you, they were great for me. I loved being in them. I loved doing the work. I loved the shows. Until, Saturday Night Live. Can you hold on 1 second?
Yeah.
Saturday. So we did Lily Tomlin's special, Lorraine Newman and I, and then Lauren Michaels and I didn't have a disagreement. He did.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, he had a grudge, and I didn't do Saturday Night Live, which is fine, because who knows what my life would have been. But it was good. Also, I had just moved here from New York, so I was ready to move back.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Where are you?
Well, I'm born and raised in San Francisco, but I live in Redding, California right now.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
So it's hot there today?
It's hot. Yeah, it's starting to cool down now, and the wind is starting to come.
Well, that's good. So, what else do you want to know? Who else do you want to know about? Mel Brooks?
Oh, yeah, tell me about Mel Brooks.
Well, he's probably one of the funniest human beings on the planet. He's a generous guy, open to suggestions. If he likes you, he takes you under his wing. And I worked with him 3 times, and it was great. And he liked to nurture people. He would have me come in on days I wasn't working when Richard Pryor was supposed to be there, or some of the other actors, so I could get to meet them and hang out with them a little bit. So, he was terrific. Some guy, a friend of mine, asked me if I wanted to meet Mel Brooks.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, which Mel Brooks? And he said he saw a show in the Groundlings I was in, and he said he thinks Mel would like me, so I went in to meet him.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked, and I made him laugh, and I got up, I was going to leave. I said, I made you laugh, there's nothing else I need to do. I'm finished, I'm finished working now. And he told me to sit down, and he said I came in for a small part, but he likes me, so I'm getting a bigger small part. And I never had to audition, and then had me come back for History of the World as one of the disciples. I worked with John Hurt, and what was the other one? High Anxiety.
High Anxiety.
And Spaceballs.
Yes.
And Spaceballs. Dr. Schlotkin.
Yeah, and you get to make out with the nurse in that.
Yeah, and that was something that I came up with.
Really?
I had come up with a line for my caddy when he left. And, why don't you go home and work on your pots? And Mel liked it. He wanted Rick Moranis to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I said, oh, okay. I said, but you owe me one. So I came back to him a little bit later and said, how about when we come back, I'm back there making out with the nurse? And he said, you got it. I said, okay. And I had to do the scene over and over and over.
Yeah.
But and no, he was a good guy. He would let you improvise. And, if he liked you, he used you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You worked with a couple friends of mine on Up the Creek. Jennifer Runyon and Julia Montgomery, who I talked to yesterday, and she says hi.
Oh, tell him I said hi back.
Absolutely. Was that a crazy experience?
Yes, it was. We were like a bunch of wild animals let out of a cage. Some of us were married, had girlfriends. Of course, I've always been married, so...
Yeah.
Going up to Bend, Oregon, and being dropped off in the wilderness can do things to people's minds, And we were just kind of crazy, We were young and wild, and we just had a terrific time. It's too bad the movie didn't turn out as well as the good time we had, but
yeah,
can only do so much.
Jim Quoth is a great writer, though.
Jim who?
Jim Quoth, who wrote the movie.
Oh, Jim Kauf, yeah.
Jim Kauf,
yeah,
I mean.
but they had, it was like rewritten 3 times. I don't know who's drafted the last one, but
oh, yeah.
I just met the guy who wrote the story. I didn't know him, and I just met him, and coincidentally, he'd written the story for it. And so, they let me improvise on that, but again, the script was bad, and the direction wasn't good, and it could have been something, but it didn't work out. And And then I did, before that I did Hollywood Nights. I don't know if you know.
Yep, I love that movie.
Yeah, oh, really?
Yeah.
That was more of a nightmare.
Really?
The director was wasted, and we worked at night from 6 at night to 6 in the morning. And we'd get there, and the director would be drunk, shit-faced, and there was no script. Everyone just did what they wanted to do. It's amazing that there was a movie at the end. Not much of one, but it was Michelle Pfeiffer's first movie that we survived. Fran Drescher,
Tony Danza, Stuart Pankin, who I've talked to.
Right, Robert Wall. Yeah, we were all involved in that. John Hillerman.
Yeah, John Hillerman.
So,
I was working with.
Yeah, you know.
I was gonna say I was working with Chevy Chase on Modern Problems.
Oh, I don't like him.
Oh, he's
an asshole.
Yeah, I've heard people say that.
Yeah, he's an asshole. That's all I'd rather say. I mean, he used to come to the Groundlings shows, and when we would ask the audience for suggestions, he would give us racist jokes or gross jokes, just anything to fuck up the show. But no, I don't like him. He's an asshole. Actually, I didn't know about him. It's amazing he's still in show business.
I've only talked to one person who liked working with him, and that is Joe Camp, who made the Benji movies, and he made that Oh Heavenly Dog movie with him, and that's about it. I haven't heard anyone else say anything good about him.
No, he's got a bad reputation. You know, he's too arrogant.
Too arrogant, and yeah, he took pills for me.
It was still fun to, you know, the thing is they let me improvise, you know, so it was still fun to do the movie, and I didn't really have to work with him. I worked behind him, so that was good, you know, and that's it. You know, he was. I've done some other movies. I did
Spinal Tap.
Combat.
Mm-hmm. You did Spinal Tap.
Oh, Spinal Tap, yeah.
That was good.
Yeah, that was also totally improvised. I was supposed to do a different part when I got to work. I was originally supposed to play the part Paul Schaefer played.
Oh.
He had dropped out of the movie. And then I got there, and Rob Reiner said, you know, Paul decided to come back and do that part. So they gave me this other part, which I was pissed off. But what are you going to do, you know?
Did they let you run wild? Yeah, did they let you run wild with improv on that?
Yeah, I mean, you know, wild. You could go. They could cut as much as they want out, but they let everybody go, and then they can cut. You know, they can cut what doesn't work and use what does work. So there was a lot of that. I mean, there was a lot of stuff that they cut, but that happens with every movie. You know, especially if it's improvised.
Yeah. You were in, you had an uncredited role in the third remake of A Star is Born.
Oh, yes, I did. That was one that I was a victim in. A scene with Barbara Streisand and Paul Mazursky, and it was when she was rehearsing for a show, something like a midnight special, and she was singing Evergreen, I think, and so then she and Paul Mazursky are talking, and I played the AD, and I came out and I had to interrupt them, and they were both very rude to me, and so I left, and so then Barbara started directing me, and it didn't match what the real director, Frank Pearson. So it went back and forth. I'd come out, she'd say, "Who told you to come out of there?" I'd say, "The director." She said, "I want you to come out here." So I heard they put it back in the video for it, but so they cut it because it just nothing matched up. That was coming out of the sky.
Wow.
But, she was tough because again she was directing me, and so was the director, and they wouldn't talk to each other.
Yeah, she's another one I've heard is very unpleasant to work with.
Yeah, but you know what? She wasn't bad. It was just that I got caught in the middle of this. I ran into her in a restaurant like 2 weeks later, and I happened to be with my family. They were all out here, my father, my mother, my two brothers. And they saw her, and they said, "Oh, you just worked with her. Why don't you go talk to her?" And I thought, "Oh, God, she's going to be rude to me." But I thought, fuck it. So I went over to her, and she was so nice. She met my parents and my brothers, and they were just, 6 feet off the ground. And so was I, because I thought she was going to, "Oh, you're the little schmuck that came in and fucked up the whole scene. I know you." But she was very nice.
Yeah, did you see the new one?
Yeah, it was okay. Same story.
Of course.
He's doing Sam Elliott, and but it was okay.
How did you get into writing? Oh, sorry.
Pardon me?
Oh, I was going to ask, how did you get into writing sitcoms?
People were always telling me I should write, and some friends of mine from the Groundlings became producers in the shows, and they would ask me to write a spec script. We'll look at it. So the first one we wrote was for the Golden Girls, and they liked it, and they had us come in and pitch a couple ideas, and they bought one that they really liked. It was where Dorothy's these Italian people come to see Dorothy because they think they switched babies in the hospital in Italy, and they have the wrong baby. They have to take Dorothy back. But anyway, so we got that. We just went in and pitched, and we went home and we thought, "Oh God, we got to write this shit now." And so we got an agent, and we went in. You go in, you pitch ideas, and some they buy, some they don't.
Yeah. Was it just side work and not a real passion of yours?
Well, I liked it, but I like performing a lot more. Sitting in an office typing, it's not my idea of fun. It's if you got to work, you should try and have a good time doing it. So that's what I like to do. I do the solo show, and one of the shows, it was the audience was so into it. I did a 2-hour show, and I had no idea. I don't have anything written. I just sort of, not totally improvised, but I know where I'm going. And it's called "You Can Only Blame So Much on the Holocaust." My parents were Holocaust survivors, and I was born in Germany, and we were sent to Toledo, Ohio, where I had my own Holocaust, the anti-Semitism, the threats, But so it does well. I just get inspired by the audience. I don't want to memorize it. I just go wherever it takes me. So I haven't done that for a while, but I will get back to it once we can go out.
Yeah.
I'll just have 10 people at the air.
You're not going to get much money at the end of the night.
No. If I was doing it for the money, I would be broke. But
Did you do stand up early on?
Yeah, when I was in New York, I started out doing stand up in the Village, mainly the Bitter End and the Village Gate and the Cafe Wa. All the folk singers were there. And then I joined an improv group in New York, and everyone dropped out except for one other guy. He and I did a 2-man thing like Burns and Schreiber would do in the Village. We went all around to all the clubs, came out here together, played the Comedy Store in a couple places, and then broke up. Unless something starts happening. And I was married, and I started working. I did start working a lot, so I didn't have time to go out to clubs at night and wait around to get on. So
yeah. Was Sammy Shore running the Comedy Store when you guys played there?
Sammy Shore, yeah, he was. He and this guy Jack Knight, who's the MC. We had a rough start. We got up there and he introduced us, and he was still on stage, and we picked up a chair and knocked one of the tiles down from the ceiling and landed on him. And we did okay, but we weren't invited back. I said, come on, we brought the house down, you know. But anyway, you know, and he worked the Improv, Bud Friedman's place.
Yeah.
But,
wow.
So, yeah, I did stand up. And, you know, in New York in those days, like Bill Cosby came down and George Carlin, and they wanted to see who was doing stand-up, so they had these open auditions.
Mm-hmm.
And there were thousands of people there, you know.
Yeah.
So I wasn't going to be in that crowd.
Yeah, but who'd you see come up with you during that time?
I don't remember any of those people because there were so many.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't remember any standout. Well, actually, when we were at the Improv, who was there? David Brenner was there. He was already on his way to being big, and Steve Landisberg, and
wow.
But they were already on the way. You know, we sort of came in as the new guys.
Richard Lewis and Jay Leno, they were probably coming up too.
Yeah, Richard Lewis. I was his best man at his wedding.
Oh.
An Orthodox Jewish wedding. It was scary.
It was?
He was scared. I was scared.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, that's cool. So during this quarantine, you're just preparing for your one-man show?
No, I don't like to prepare too much for it. I just start to go over the beats I'm going to hit, and you know, depending on who's in the audience, sometimes I digress. You know, we'll go off for 20 minutes and talk about them, but then I get back on track and try and keep the show down to less than 2 hours. People were peeing in their seats, but you know, it's something I like to do, and I need to brush up on it.
Well, as soon as this quarantine is all done with and the show happens and stuff, maybe I'll be out in LA and I'll come see you perform.
Absolutely, that would be great. Or if I'm doing a groundling show, we do anniversary shows all the time.
Yeah, I need to get down to the Groundlings too. I need to actually see a live show, you know, because I'm such a fan of the old stuff that you guys did, you know, and
yeah,
it was just so amazing.
Most of us are still alive.
Yeah, it's still alive.
Yeah, still kicking. So anyway, anything else?
I just wanted to let you know that I thought your son Simon was great on The Big Bang Theory. Oh
yeah, he had a great run on that.
Yeah, that's probably the last sitcom you'll see last that long on television, because everything's on streaming now.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Absolutely.
He got in on the tail end there.
Yeah, and it was such good writing too. You know, it was like it reminded me of a show you'd see in the 70s or the 80s. The writing was just so good and so fresh. You know. Right.
It wasn't you know, coincidence or misunderstood messages. It had a story and it had a purpose.
Absolutely. You know, I love the ones where he's playing off of Casey Sander as his father-in-law. They're both so great together.
Yeah. But anyway, so
yeah. So thank you so much for your time today, Sandy, and
my pleasure.
I hope you have a happy birthday this week. And
thank you very much.
Yes, and stay safe.
I will, and you too. And thanks for calling.
Thank you, sir. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, there you have it. Sandy Helberg. Ain't he a cool dude? Nice guy, funny guy, lots of pride. One of the one of the ones who was a part of that comedy revolution in the 70s, and it was an honor to talk to him. If you like this video, everyone, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, add me as a friend on Facebook, join my Tommy Kovac comedian page on Facebook, follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and all that fun stuff. Well, that's all the time we have this week on Splat from the Past. Until next time, this is Tommy Throwback Kovac saying, there's no shame in living in the past, because the present sucks. Later,